I stick to the only true safe sex. Cyber.
Leave a comment down below if you want to be Josh's Discord kitten.
In July 2017, McDonald's finally jumped the shark and put sriracha and kale on a burger, and this foodie bandwagoning had disastrous effects, but today, we're bringing it back from the past.
It's time for Past Food!
Now, Trevor, we launched the series Past Food to educate you.
Yeah.
Because you're very young.
And stupid.
You're like a tiny little bird. You're like a baby hummingbird in the nest, and we need to educate you on the past. But I'm gonna be relying on you to educate me on this one because this came out in 2017. This is part of McDonald's signature crafted menu.
Oh.
And this was for you.
Never heard of it.
Well, it means they did a piss poor job because they were trying to figure out how to sell burgers to the next generation. They were like, you know what they love? Spicy international items. We got this Sriracha Max sauce. You know what they love? Health. A generation that only drinks Monster Energy and eats goldfish and plays video games 13 hours a day while interacting with no one in real life and thinking that social interactions are a substitute for actual relationships. They love being healthy. That's why they put kale on the burger, Trevor. This was always for you.
Why'd you have to attack me personally?
Well, no, you are indicative of the entire generation. But really, this came out in 2017. They're trying to get the new generation of burger lovers to eat at McDonald's. It costs $5.59. This is expensive. This is premium. It was on an artisan roll. They're trying to compete with the Shake Shacks of the world. And it was a huge disaster because people go to McDonald's to get $1 McChickies.
Big Mac, McChicky, and $1 large Diet Coke.
That you can refill as many times as you want, baby.
Yeah.
So a couple years later, they discontinued the whole dang menu, but today, we're bringing it back.
Yeah.
This is a sad-looking triumvirate of foods right here. Trevor, we got Mac sauce in McDonald's.
Nice.
We got a hamburger puck.
They're holes in the hamburger.
I don't know why there are holes in the hamburger. But we got a quarter-pound hamburger puck right there. And we got the tomatoes. So we have 3, and they're pretty white. I'm not gonna lie. Trevor, we're gonna be relying on you today. You're gonna be our artisan.
Oh.
You're gonna make the artisan bun.
I'm so good at that, you know me.
I'm so stoked. And then we're gonna ferment our own sriracha because, fun fact, Hoi Fong Foods never copyrighted the term sriracha, and so anybody could do it, and so McDonald's got theirs from somebody else. It's a very sweet sauce. I remember eating this burger way back in the day. And then, Trevor, we gotta fry our own onions, make crispy onions, because they ain't got those anymore.
I love crispy onions.
Trevor, you ready to bring this back?
That was wrong.
How do we do it?
You ready to bring this? No, we go, we're bringing it back because we already did back from the past, and then you go, it's time for.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, hold on. It's time for Past Food!
Didn't we already do that?
No, I swear to God, we did back from the past already.
No. Wait.
Because we did.
No, wait.
It's
Past Foods. That's definitely Past
Oh, no, you're right.
Now it's Trevor.
I'm stupid, sorry. So now it's time to bring this
back from the past.
Back from the past!
Yeah.
So we just kind of yell.
Yeah. Trevor, you ready to bring this
back from the past? That's so good. Up top.
Slap me in the face. Okay, now I'm ready. Trevor, do you consider yourself more of an artisan or a potato?
I'd say more of a potato.
Well, too bad. Today you gotta be an artisan because at McDonald's with their signature crafted. Trevor, don't say the F word on camera.
I didn't finish it.
I'm sorry. I'm a little on edge. I'm a little tired. I'm a little wired.
Okay, just take it easy. We can get through this, Josh. Just chill.
Because you can choose between an artisan bun and a potato bun. Which I think is funny because one implies an artisan made it, the other implies that a potato made it. I don't think. Do you like that joke?
Well, the funny thing is, I do. You can have an artisan potato roll.
Not at McDonald's, you can't. You got either or. You cannot have an and. So we're gonna make the artisan bun. Trevor, bake.
Okay.
All right, great.
Okay, I'm gonna put dough conditioner in there.
I don't know how to do it.
You don't know how to do it? What do you mean?
I can do it. No, should I do this?
You want to?
All right, cool. Let me explain the baking process. So we got a little bit of dough conditioner cut with our all-purpose flour here. Now the key to brioche is adding the butter in gradually, and you want to window pane technique. Window pane, it's got to stretch and you got to be able to see through it as if it were a window pane, and so you know it's ready.
Well, but the thing is that this isn't really a brioche because
brioche inspired.
Brioche, you need a lot more butter, but basically we're just gonna add the butter in at the end. But it's still gonna be a nice, like, wet, smooth, stretchy dough.
Yeah. So I'm gonna dump some turmeric in here.
Oh, you just going for it.
Yeah, well, add dry to dry.
Well, zoink, Scoob. No, I mean,
Right?
you didn't even do the sprinkle method. You just took the cap all the way off.
Yeah, no, oh, no, do I never use the cap? That's why I take all the stoppers off the hot sauces in the fridge. Yeah, sorry, anyone who's trying to use the Tapatio, you're getting a lot more Tapatio than you think you want. All right, so we got that. Here, you stream the milk in. So
You got a lot of turmeric on the hook there.
Yeah, I fudged that one up a little
Classic.
bit. There's a chunk of turmeric. So we got the yeast dissolving in the milk right here. The milk's a little bit warm. Yeast, of course, blooms in warm water, about 103 degrees.
10.
110 to, God dang it!
It's anywhere from like 100 to 110 is good. This is milk and water also, in case you were wondering. Even though this is pretty silly, because this is instant yeast, so you don't really need to bloom it.
It's so silly.
I just put it in there because, I'm a silly, goofy guy. Well,
Yeast reproduces in water,
yes,
meaning
sexual
they
intercourse.
have sexual intercourse, but not always penetrative. Sometimes it's just for fun.
Good job.
They're doing this at the McDonald's?
Yeah, every day at the McDonald's,
That's
there's some
crazy.
guy standing behind a stand mixer making a batch of dough enough for 7 buns.
I ate this burger. It looked attractive because the bun was so shiny. That was one of the reasons people loved like the Popeyes chicken sandwich, right? It was
Yeah.
this big tone shift in fast food. It was no longer just about, how cheap can you make it.
Yeah.
It looked like something that would have come from a restaurant, except it was like spun through the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Like it looked like something from a restaurant, but it was still this weird kind of pockmarked hockey puck burger. And the sriracha didn't quite taste like sriracha,
Dude, speaking of Uncanny Valley, I Uncanny Valleyed myself this morning. I was brushing my teeth, and after I got done brushing my teeth, I made this really weird face, and it looked like, I don't know. I just looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, what are you doing? Like in my head, but my face is still doing the thing, and I scared myself. Anyway, that's a fun.
We're all doing great.
That's a true personal.
We're all doing so good.
Little anecdote from my life.
One time I looked at myself in the mirror of an IKEA bathroom and I started crying. It was a weird
Was it because
day.
you didn't have enough money for the cool IKEA mirror?
No, it was in the bathroom. I was already kind of like having a bit of a freak
Oh, it
out.
wasn't like one of the fake bathrooms.
No, it was a real, well, I pissed in it. Whatever it was, I pissed in it.
I
don't really know.
You were walking through one of the display bathrooms and you looked in the mirror and you just started crying.
Yeah, I was dropping a deuce in the display bathroom in IKEA.
Hey man, if you don't want me to crap, then don't put a toilet there.
Looking at you, Home Depots. I've been going to Lowe's, crapping in their buckets in the garden section. All right, we'll drop the rest of the butter in there.
Kobe.
He really did only have like a 43%, lifetime field goal average. So most of the time he did miss. R.I.P. 45% from the field, Kobe shot.
Nice.
You were still above him with the butter. And then in what other ways?
Technically I shot 0%.
Think you better?
What?
Huh? Okay.
Do I think I better? Wait, Josh, before we get into this shockingly yellow dough,
very yellow.
Good Mythical Evening is coming up. Round freaking 2. It's gonna be crazy. We're gonna be getting litty. Josh is gonna do that. And it's coming up in like just a couple days. So please go get your tickets at
lot of that.
goodmythicalevening.com.
Be a lot of that. A little bit
And I'm
of
gonna finish this plug up right now so that he stops doing whatever he's doing. Josh, we got it dough, and it's
A little bit of this.
Stop.
A little bit of
Can you save it for
little bit of that.
for the
You
evening
like
time?
that? Good Mythical Evening. Get your tickets now.
This is still the morning, okay? So if we
Naked, draped in ham sheets.
keep it PG, Josh. Parental guidance.
We got this really yellow dough. That's pretty exciting, Trevor, because this is going to turn into our buns.
Yeah, our artisanal.
Artisanal buns. Yeah, art is anal, in fact. And for McDonald's, what, Trevor, as a zillennial, do you think, how does McDonald's reach you?
I don't know.
Like an app?
Usually when I'm drunk.
Yeah. I've never been a drunk McDonald's guy. It's not enough flavors when I'm drunk. And when I'm drunk, I want all the flavors. That's the only thing I want, which is why I go to Taco Bell. I have called an Uber because Taco Bell, no matter how drunk but respectful you are, they will not let you walk through the drive-thru.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times you circle around and keep trying it, they still recognize you because you are the same person. But what I
So
found
lame.
is you can indeed call an Uber and they will pick you up and they will just drive you through the drive-thru and you can buy them a burrito. And then they can just drop you off back on the curb so you can eat your burrito in front of the Taco Bell employees that wouldn't serve you as you just stare at them spitefully. This is a real thing I've done. Did that in Texas with Whataburger too once.
My friends and I tried to walk through a Krispy Kreme drive-thru one time, but apparently, again, Krispy Kreme is too high class of an establishment to let teenagers walk through
What's
the drive-thru.
the harm of letting us walk through the drive-thru? Can we ask?
Yeah.
We have money. We are Americans and have rights, you know?
Yeah.
I
don't get it. I genuinely don't get it.
Even after they denied us the first time, I pantomimed a car and I drove up and I went beep beep, and I had my friend act as if we were listening to NPR, you know? And he was just like, Bashar al-Assad has not ceded power yet in the Damascus region, and they did not buy that as if we were in a real car. And I'm dead serious too. This is the Taco Bell in K-Town. Should I start forming a bun?
Yeah, go ahead, man. We can both form them and compare and see whose is better.
Wouldn't you normally like weigh this out?
Yeah, probably, but we're making McDonald's, so.
That's fair.
I mean, the buns for the artisanal Sriracha Burger are like freaking hypnotically flat.
They are incredibly flat. Yeah,
It's like there's no, I don't know how you make a bun that flat.
So we're gonna bool this up.
Yeah.
Crazy sexy bool. And then we're gonna kind of just mash them out?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
Okay.
doing, man. I brought a rolling pin, but I'm kind of down to just mash it with my fingies. When you rolling pin it, sometimes you get this like dip in the center and then it raises on the sides. So I'm just kind of mash at it.
We're gonna mash it to a disc, and we're gonna get it going through second proof. We're gonna egg wash it so it's extra shiny.
Yeah.
And then, like a raccoon, it attracts the gaze of millennials. Not millennials, what are you? It's very simple to follow along. I don't understand why everyone thinks I'm not crazy, you're crazy. I'm over here just trying to make my buns,
You're so silly.
do my job, you know, as a baker.
Go home to my wife.
Go home to my wife, you know, see my 8-year-old child, Jonah.
Josh, do you think you got any kids out there?
No. There was, never mind. Sometimes, you know, it's like, why haven't you posted on Instagram in 9 months? And so we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna put that right there. You know, what are you hiding? Like, is this normal or? But no, we've.
Dude, mine is so much better
certainly
than
don't.
yours. You made it too big, you dingus.
What?
Because it's gonna proof and get bigger, so
I
yours
stick
is
to-
gonna get bigger. The McDonald's burger is already smaller than this.
I stick to the only true safe sex. Cyber.
Leave a comment down below if you want to be Josh's Discord kitten. Wow, Josh, they've proved. And
You guys remember? Were you old enough for the phrase just quote "won a cyber"? That was the thing you'd say, right? You were like on AIM as like 13, and people would like, no? Yeah. Oh, Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Want a
Won a
cyber?
cyber, and that was, you know, you did. You were like ASL, just like straight to won a cyber. And, but then like no one knew how to do it, so you'd almost hope that they said no, and then someone would say yes, and you'd just be like, I'm in basketball shorts. And you're just like, what else? Where do we go from here? So we got this egg wash. It's gonna get nice and shiny, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna let it proof and pop it in the oven. Trevor, what's wrong?
Want a cyber?
No, I don't, Trevor. Never ask me again at work. Trevor, you down to ferment our own sriracha?
Yeah.
All right, so like I said, Hoi Kwang Foods, the rooster sauce, that's the sriracha that most people know as sriracha, and they did invent it. It's made with fermented red jalapenos, garlic, sugar, some vinegar, and other stuff like that.
It tastes good.
It tastes really good, but there's nothing copyrighted about it, and so a lot of you palm heel strike those garlics, and so a lot of places, especially when sriracha blew up, and McDonald's was like 8 years late to this trend in 2017, that's good stuff. They were making their own. They were adding it to Big Mac sauce. So, fermentation, you take the lactobacillus that is on the outside of the peppers and the garlic. Garlic is actually antimicrobial, but we're still gonna ferment it in with this. The sugar actually reacts to the lactobacillus and what does it do? It creates acid and umami is born and whatnot, probiotics, all that good stuff. I wish I had more actual home fermentation techniques, but here's the funny thing about people on YouTube is that we're normal people, right? And we just would Google stuff. So you can also just Google it.
Yeah.
It's like my expertise is in like digital media production. Ah, Jesus crud.
My hands is sticky.
Why is your from the garlic?
From the
You never
garlic.
have to do that.
Did I do a good job?
You did a really good job, man.
Proud
Your
of me?
garlic is open. Here we go.
Can you say you're proud of me?
I'm Trevor. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Sometimes me and your dad text and we talk about how proud of you we are.
Really?
Yeah, actually, like kinda.
Wait, you text my dad?
Yeah. Oh, text your dad more than anybody else's dad. All right, so we blended this up.
Sticky.
What we're gonna do, we're just gonna put it in a mason jar, we're gonna close it up, we're gonna let it sit at room temperature for 3 days. Again, if there's anything unsafe about this, you're not eating it. Use your own judgment and assess your own risks. There's positive freedom and there's negative freedom, right? You have the freedom to ride a skateboard without a helmet, right? That's a negative freedom. It's dangerous. You probably shouldn't do it, but that's a key tenet that we hold in society is you take things into your own hands. Also, you have no idea what restaurants are actually doing ever at any time. I'll tell you what, health inspectors, they can't cover every restaurant. You have no idea what's going on. Even the fanciest restaurants poison people. You know what I mean? I'm not a hero. Do I have an obligation to keep you safe? I don't know. That's a question I ask myself every day. I lay in bed at night.
You have an obligation.
You know, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Have we gotten pictures of people who have cut themselves palm heel striking garlic? Yes. Yeah, we sure have. Have I ever done it? No. 'Cause I'm freaking tough.
Do you remember when for your birthday I palm heel struck almond brittle and cut my hand?
Yeah, dangerous. That's the freedom that Trevor had to do that.
Well,
you know, social contract.
You yelled at me to do it.
Well, yeah, but you said no. Good news, Trevor.
It's been 3 days and my hands are still sticky.
From different things, though.
What? What are you implying? You implying that I cybered with someone? Call back. Get it?
So, here, smell this.
Smells good.
It smells really good. It smells fermented. It smells like chili and garlic. And again, it's safe to consume. For my own personal beliefs, yes. You know, we're gonna
my own personal beliefs.
I don't know, Trevor. You have to make your own decisions. We're adding MSG. We're adding
garlic powder.
Garlic powder. This is onion
powder.
This is xanthan gum for thickening. Xanthan gum's gonna thicken it. That's nice.
Sugar.
Oh yeah, a little bit more sugar. The Sriracha Mac sauce, it was pretty freaking. Just got a little bit of salt. I'm gonna season it later.
You might got the sugar, but I got the honey. You might got the honey, but I got that creamy peanut butter.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know if this is a reference or a mini stroke. I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna smile at the camera.
Yeah, you might got those, but I got
cooking.
the Nutella.
Everybody else is laughing, to which points to the fact that it's a reference. And if history would serve,
Mitsubishi.
SpongeBob. Is this SpongeBob?
Nicole's
Or no, it's probably another Cartoon Network show like
no, it's not. Just keep
Fairly
doing
Odd
your
Parents.
cooking thing, dude.
I missed a lot of that in my childhood because we didn't have cable, so I read books.
You read books?
I read so many. I read a lot of John Grisham books.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you what, a lot of weird sex scenes in
Get a load of this guy, huh?
Everyone talks about romance novels marketed to moms. A lot of banging going on in the dad books too. John Grisham, they're just trying to solve a case, you know, with their lawyer powers.
Oh my God! One time, I was like in probably 8th or 9th grade.
I had water
and
a lot of corn syrup.
I was in like 8th or 9th grade, and I had to do a book report on something, and I asked my dad for a good book, and he gave me this book. And he's like, you should read this, it's really good. And then I read it, and there was a sexual scene where two people, this like coal miner was doing it with a lady in a bathtub. And then,
bathtub?
And then there was another scene later in the book where I learned what a condom was.
Well, that's good. And you did a book report on this?
I did a book report, and then I didn't know how to tell anyone that there was a sexual scene in the book.
Yeah.
And I was very embarrassed, and so I just didn't bring it up.
Well, I'm straining the Trevor. Can you grab me? No, I don't need a spoon. We're gonna use the plunger. We're gonna strain off the Sriracha. I did a book report on a John Grisham book called The Brethren that was about, I think it was about gay sex, and it was in 4th grade. It was about like judges and like a sex ring, something. And then I did a book report, and I just talked about that to my 4th grade
Dude, that's awesome.
class.
I did a book report one time in the 4th grade where I picked out this book from the library, and it was about this kid in high school whose girlfriend gets like murdered, and then he like is a
Sriracha.
basketball player.
Try that.
And then
Keep telling about the murder.
Yeah. That's good. His girlfriend gets murdered, and then he like becomes depressed, and then he like goes on this hunt to like find out who the killer is. I don't remember much about
Xanthan
the
gum's
book,
thickening it nice.
but that is nice. I did the book report in the 4th grade. My teacher was like, where did you get this book? And I was like, from the library. And it was the library at the school. And then she was upset with me that I read it because it was too graphic, because I read about murder. What is that?
Oh, this is the sauce. This is what we were doing the whole time.
No, I know, but oh, you added Big Mac sauce to it.
Yeah, because it's a Sriracha Big Mac sauce. You were talking about the murder book. You were talking about sex with coal miners. You know, I didn't know where to interrupt, so I just made the damn thing. Now they have no idea what just happened.
Well, you could have
We took the sugar slop that might kill us, and we put it in the mayonnaise goo, you see? Try this though, see if it's good. This is what the Sriracha Mac sauce looked like. It was very sweet, it was pretty spicy. There you go.
That's delicious.
I mean, that's Sriracha Mac Sauce. Am I crazy for wanting to take some of the pulp?
Dude, pulp it. Pulp that.
I'm gonna pulp it. Pulp this so hard.
Yeah.
I want some extra kick in there because it was pretty spicy, the Sriracha Mac Sauce.
My hands are
I like
sticky.
this now. Trevor, your hands have been sticky since you were 12 years old.
Not true. I don't like sticky hands. I wash my hands very often.
That's true. It's not OCD. Well, there might be. Something ain't right.
No, there's
both of us.
A lot ain't right.
No, if anybody's watched something, it's just not, you know.
I can't. Wait, I forgot how to snap.
What do you mean forgot how to snap?
I just like my hand is sticky and I lost all my brain. I didn't know how
Your
to.
motor function's okay? Trevor, how many fingers am I holding up? Light show time, baby, light show time.
Naruto? Shadow Clone Jutsu!
Trevor, we have finally reached the precipice, the apex, the climax, some would say.
The penultimate moment. Is that right?
Yeah, penultimate's the one that comes right before the final one.
Yeah. And
So this is it. This is the final one. So, onions. We gotta make the fried onions. We're taking very thinly sliced onions, and we're gonna drop them into like a generic wet batter. And we're gonna pop them in a fryer.
Fryer. That's how you make fried things. You put them in a fryer.
Astute observation, Trevor. They
Thank
say
you.
this generation's dumb.
They do. And
really
they're
do.
right.
We got our bun, beautiful
Okay,
toasted.
yes.
It's yellow. This is actually what it looked like. It's nice and shiny on top.
It's shiny.
That's an artisan bun if I've ever seen one. You want to pop a burger patty on the bottom? Yeah, put a schmear sauce on. Put a schmear sauce on.
Sauce on the bottom.
Yeah, sauce on the bottom, just a little bit.
All right, just a little.
Try and separate
schmear.
these onions as much
Ooh,
as
it's
possible.
gloopy. It's gelatinous.
Kinda
You could say.
Get these off there. Blah, blah, blah.
It's gelatinous.
Yeah, that's the xanthan gum, and this is really what the Sriracha Mac Sauce looked like. So I think we did a pretty bang-up job on that. And then we got our beautiful baby kale. I mentioned McDonald's really trying to jump on the kale hype. You know, you got Beyonce out there. She was wearing the kale sweater.
Do we have to put kale on it?
We do have to put kale because McDonald's put kale. Trevor, we have to decide. We are the arbiters
Josh.
of fate here, deciding whether or not this comes back from the past.
Kale sucks.
I actually really like kale. I don't like raw kale particularly. I really enjoy cooking.
Ow!
What's happening, Trevor?
It hot.
Are you hurt or are you scared?
Burger hot.
I'm trying to break up these onions. They're really kind of frying them into like an onion bhaji here. Onions are done.
What goes next?
Oh, next goes the tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Wow, these are some terrible tomatoes.
Ah, good.
Then kale.
Yeah,
How many leaves?
7.
One,
That's a big, this one's big. Wait, what happens if I do this?
2, 1, 2. Does kale actually look like spinach? Because this looks like
Yeah, so
spinach.
it's baby kale, and that's a lot of things people were saying. Is they're like, this looks like mint leaves, this looks like spinach. It was kale, and so that's what we got. We just got baby kale from the store.
Sauce on top too?
Sauce on top too, yeah. Sauce that top bun. Just a couple.
on here.
That's looking pretty good. No pickles on it.
No
Strange.
pickles?
No pickles.
You forgot I was gonna
Can I
try
eat
and do
this?
this. Never mind. You wouldn't get it anyway.
I fried a kale leaf.
Yeah, we'll eat it then.
It's so
You
squishy.
made your bed.
There's
now
so
lie
much.
in
There's
it.
so much oil in it.
You made your bed. Now lie in it.
I only ate the batter off. The kale stayed.
God, you're so hard to work with sometimes.
I don't think that's true. I've been working myself for a long time. I think I'm kick-ass.
Let's take a quick poll.
Who thinks I'm difficult to work with?
Say
Me,
aye.
put your hand down. Crown it.
Okay, it's crowned. Does it look good? I can't see it.
I can't see it either. Do you think it looks good?
Leave a comment down below if you think our McDonald's Sriracha Burger that we brought back from the past from 2017 looks good.
And leave a comment below if you want to be Trevor's Discord puppy.
No, kitten, dingus.
Kitten. Oh, my
God.
first son is a dog. But Trevor, it wouldn't be an episode of what's the show called? Trevor, it wouldn't be. What happens if you deep fry a paper towel in batter?
No, that's a bad idea.
Why?
I don't think you should.
Cut to the packaging. Trevor, at long last, we have our signature crafted Sriracha burger with white cheddar, kale, Sriracha Mac Sauce, and like
Onion.
fried onion.
And a
thingies.
burger patty.
And a burger.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that shiny artisan bun.
Goodness.
This looks good. This looks really good.
I'm excited for it, man.
I wasn't excited for this in 2017. I was critical of it. I was like, hopping on the trends. But now that like your generation has made selling out cool,
yeah.
I think this might be a cool thing.
All right.
Let's go in with an open
Cheers.
mind, an empty stomach, and a willingness to cyber.
It's a hot damn good burger.
It's funny how much it tastes like McDonald's. I mean, it's a McDonald's burger patty, but
This cow was slaughtered 15 years ago. This is held in a deep freeze somewhere in Tasmania. Now, what do you think? Actually, McDonald's has been cooking up their burgers fresh. Shout out to them. They made that change.
I need a napkin.
You don't have to eat it. I can't make you eat it as your employer. But if you choose to, it's different.
Is this what cybering is like?
How do you feel about the kale?
I hate it.
I hate the kale.
Hate the kale. Drop the kale. Put some of that nice, tiny little shredded pieces of lettuce like you got on the Big Mac. You take the kale out, you put that on this. I don't know, maybe lose the tomato. Maybe throw some pickles on there. Maybe just take a Big Mac and add the sauce and the crispy onions to it.
Sriracha crispy onion Big Mac. That's the way to go.
That's fire, yeah.
That's the way to go. Are you willing to make a call right now? Should McDonald's bring this back from the past? As a zillennial, Trevor, which is how you self-identify, do you think that your clan would buy this hamburger for like $6?
Nope.
No, right? Not at all.
No.
I don't want this back.
No, if this came back, I would never go to McDonald's and order this over a Big Mac.
No, but there's elements of it.
If they put the Sriracha Big Mac sauce on a Big Mac, added those crispy onions back, I'd buy that all the time.
Time is a flat circle, man. Trends, they come, they go, they circle back around. Sriracha, I'm still into. I think it's a fantastic sauce. To me, that is absolutely timeless. There are elements of this burger that are good. I agree with you entirely. Don't bring this back, but like, give me the things that I like. Ronald McDonald, just read my mind and cater everything specifically to me and ignore all the data that you've been scraping from your app and selling to Jeffrey Bezos.
Which character from the McDonald's cinematic universe would you cyber with?
Oh, Grimace. Yeah, I like my cyber partners purple and amorphous.
I don't know why I asked. Thank you for stopping by the Mythical Kitchen. We got new episodes for you every week. Check out our podcast, A Hot Dog is a Sandwich, every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast. Hit us up on Instagram and TikTok at Mythical Kitchen with pictures of your mythical dishes under hashtag Dreams Become Food. And hey, if you feel very passionate about the McDonald's Sriracha Burger, drop them a tweet and say, hey, Josh and Trevor made this and they kind of didn't like it, but I want it back. They probably won't bring it back for you, but that's the way corporate America goes sometimes.
And get your tickets to Good Mythical Evening if you want to see a little bit of this.
No. Please
See a little.
What are you doing?
Bro, it's Good Mythical Evening. It's sexy. You're gonna be a little bit of. What the? Get the spicy new Live Lunch to the Fullest tea now at mythical.com.